Try one more time. Smoother ending this time. This time with a smoother ending. Guaranteed. Master. Take you off. All right, let's record. So I've been working on this new tune, but then a package arrived. Alright, so this little baby is called the Oakboard Mini by a new company called Oaktone, who specialize in making stage tools for musical storytellers. I happen to be friends with the founder of this company. His name's Jeff Kaler, who's an incredibly talented guy, and I'm super excited for him to get this company off the ground, and was lucky enough to receive one of these pre-release models of his Oakboard series, which is this new hardware line as part of this company. I'm still learning about all the different products that they're offering at this stage, but from what I know so far, they have 3 different hardware units and a bunch of different Max for Live devices, which are just designed to sort of help performers and help musicians on stage and behind stage, backstage, side stage, wherever, do what they do better. So Jeff has very kindly sent over this Oakboard Mini, which is the smallest controller out of the Oakboard lineup. And from what I can gather, this guy's sole purpose is to give live performers like myself a really reliable way to launch musical cues in a really neat compact form. But today I thought we'd take a look at this Oakboard Mini and how I can incorporate this into my setup. Now, straight out of the box, this thing just feels solid. It's made out of aluminium or something. These buttons are just really nice to click on as well. They kind of remind me of the Push 2 buttons, very similar kind of clickability. Get a nice USB cable, one of those nice right angle USBs, which I absolutely love. We also get these cards, which tells you a little bit about the story of Oaktone and some of the cool things that they're going to be doing. I read somewhere about them helping the environment by planting trees with every purchase and things like that, which is really cool. There's also some setup instructions in here, installation instructions, and also download material, which is super important for helping you get the most out of the hardware. There's also this guarantee on here, which says if you're not happy for any reason, or even if you change your mind, that we'll arrange a return and a refund. And then that's signed by Jeff Kaler himself. That's a nice touch. I'm not really one to make unboxing videos and promotional material and things like that, but Jeff's a mate and I'm really excited for Oaktone to see what these guys can do. So let's see what this baby can do. Okay, so we've completed step 1, plug it in, done. I love how it's a right angle USB, and not only that, but the USB cable goes up. I have so many of these right angle USB cables where you plug it into the controller and the cable's going down towards you. I hate that. So I'm already impressed. That's some nice LED feedback straight away. Play is green, stop is red. Everything else is like this blue color. All right, step 2, map input controls. Set your application's MIDI controller input to Oakboard and map MIDI controls in your preferred song launching application. Song launching application, well, for me, that would be Ableton Live. So let's head over to Ableton Live where I've got this live set I'm working on. I need my QWERTY keyboard for this. Command, comma. Let's head over to the MIDI tab, scroll down. Here we have the Oakboard Mini. Now let's just enable the MIDI input remote control. That's going to allow us to MIDI map various functions within Live. And what I also noticed here in the instructions, if we go down to instruction number 3, it says set your application's MIDI sync output to the Oakboard also. This enables you to monitor your workstation's playback state, stopped versus playing, with tempo on your Oakboard's play button LED. So let's enable sync on our Oakboard Mini output. So if I understand this correctly, when we're playing, we should get a flashing LED. Let's give that a go. Can you see that? It's flashing. All right, now if we go back up to instruction number 2, there's also a section here that says Taz Lite for Ableton Live Suite and Max for Live users is already available for download in your account at oaktone.com. So to really utilize this piece of hardware, there's a piece of free software that goes along with it called Taz. Now this guy comes with Taz Lite for free. Now Jeff's actually hooked me up with Taz Pro, which is a paid version of the Max application. They essentially do the same thing. Taz Pro just has a couple of extra features. So I downloaded Taz Pro from my Oaktone account, and when I unzipped the file, I actually noticed it came with this really nice installation PDF. Here you can see Jeff looking all suave with his morning coffee. And if we scroll down, there's all these really detailed installation instructions and just super clear how to get the most out of Taz, but most importantly, how to get the most out of your controller. The folder also contained the Max device Taz Pro, which I just dropped into my user library, and then I added that to my Max collections, which I have up here. Let's insert a MIDI track, and then I'm just going to drop Taz Pro onto that track. So before we go any further, I just want to reinforce exactly what this guy was designed to do. So the Oakboard Mini is designed to help give playback engineers, musicians, live performers a reliable way to launch musical cues. So in order to do that, we actually need to create some musical cues. And there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can do this over in arrangement view using locator markers as our musical cues, or we can do this over in session view, which is my preferred method, using MIDI clips. So if we head over to Taz Pro, you can see we have a few different modes. We have a range mode for when we're in arrangement view. We have a session mode for when we're in session view. And then there's this auto mode, which I believe switches between the two different modes depending on which view you're looking at. Since I'm in session view, I'm going to select the session mode. So now we could probably look at mapping this guy to Taz Pro. So let's head up to our MIDI map button here, and let's just go through the various controls that are itemized here. We have play, let's map that guy. Stop, let's map that. Previous, next. Now we also have this cue list. Let's also map that to this middle button. We have a reset button, and let's map that as well. So we have all 6 buttons mapped to the 6 buttons that coincide in Taz Pro. So now we should have a global play and stop for live with the Oakboard Mini. Notice how the stop button stops instantly and not at the end of like the 4 bars. It's like an instant stop button. It's like global stop and start. Now, in order to really take advantage of this device, we need to set up some musical cues. And to do that in session view, we use MIDI clips. So let's head up to this MIDI track and actually rename it to Taz Pro. Let's give it a nice creamy color. And I'm just going to create some MIDI clips here. So double click, create a MIDI clip, and I'm going to duplicate these down the entirety of my live set. Now, in order to create a musical cue that Taz can recognize, there's a little shortcut we need to do, which is a little asterisk and a space. So before every musical cue, we need an asterisk and a space, then our cue title. So let's input a cue title for our intro. Asterisk space intro and enter. Now, if we look down here in Taz Pro, we have a nice little display here and it now says intro. Let's put in a couple more cues. As I keep inputting these musical cues, they're immediately added into Taz Pro and they pop up in this little display here. But if we click on the cue list, we can use our button that we mapped earlier. Let's press that. It actually brings up a window here where we can see all of our musical cues, and then we can use our next and previous buttons to scroll through these cues. Let's maybe add a few more. And just like that, all of my musical cues have been added to Taz and therefore added to my cue list. And I get this really nice visual representation of all the different sections of my tune. And then I can scroll back and forth using my Oakboard Mini to just launch different sections of my track. This is a fantastic tool that I can see being really useful, not only on stage, but actually in the studio, just for jumping between different sections of my tune where I'm working on, say, a breakdown, and then I want to see what it sounds like with the drop. I can just jump from the breakdown section, launch that. Now let's head to the drop and see what that sounds like. Let's go back to the breakdown. Super neat. I love it. This is something that I've never really thought about before. I actually went out and got a Launchpad to help me with live performance so I could focus on just using the push and I didn't have to worry about triggering things as well. So the Launchpad's been helping me do that for the longest time, but this is kind of a little bit more dedicated, and this visual representation of cue setting and being able to see really easily and actually just scroll between the different sections really easily is a super nice addition to my setup. Now I'm just scratching the surface of Taz Pro. There are a lot more features that this thing can do. I know that Taz Pro has some expanded features like audible cues that can be set up to here for stage monitoring. Very nice features, very nice tools for musical storytellers. So I think we'll leave it there for this video. I want to thank Oaktone for sending me this unit. It's definitely going to be a part of my stage and studio setup. I think we'll close out with some music. I'm going to run through this work in progress track using the Oakboard Mini, and I'm hoping that it gives me the freedom to focus on other things like tweaking my synth and playing on the push. If you did like this video, then please remember to subscribe. It really does help. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up also. Until next time, keep creating. Bye for now.